Welcome back and hello to your first lesson. This is lesson 1, and today we are talking about the ultimate fat loss formula that is going to help you build your leanest body ever and start losing fat more predictably. So what you are going to learn in this lesson is the pinnacle of everything else over the next 8 weeks, which we are going to build on. What you learn today is something you are going to hear me talk about time and time again. It is the foundation. So I really want you to zoom in here. I want you to listen closely. And again, a little reminder not to jump ahead. Even if you have heard about energy balance or a calorie deficit, perhaps you've been trying it for a little while, that means that you may be missing a few key points. So you may need a little refresher. So let's get into what we are going to cover in this first lesson. You are going to learn the science of fat loss deconstructed into nice, bite-sized, understandable, simple pieces. Then we are going to talk about diet myths and truths that we need to clear up. You are going to learn how to read calories like a queen and why it is the key to your dream body. And then we are going to talk about step 1 to becoming energy conscious and creating an epic mindset shift. What if I told you that there is just one principle that will determine fat loss? You see, over the years, we gather so many ideas from articles we read, from our moms, from our aunties, from our friends, from Cosmo online, social media, about what it takes to lose fat. And over time, we just seem to jumble all of these ideas together and we end up with some crazy ideas about what it takes to get lean. I would like to invite you to forget everything that you think you know. And I want you to understand these few simple things that really count for fat loss based on the science. So what this program is going to cover is these couple of scientific principles. And so I thought it would be funny to start off by sharing what people think matters when it comes to fat loss, because weirdly, it's the complete opposite to what we often think. Most people think you've got to do a hell of a lot of cardio, right? You need to be sweating. If you are not doing a ton of sweating, you probably are not going to get results. Then people think, listen, you need to cut things out. You need to do detoxes, you need to cut the carbs, perhaps do some juicing, forget sugar, definitely no alcohol, you need to eat clean, and then maybe you can lose a couple of kilos. Then people think supplements, fat burners, shakes. We are trawling the Dis-Chem shelves to see what products are going to help us actually lose a few kilos. Then people think genetics. Maybe I just was born with the fat gene and I have no hope. And then some weight training. I think over time people have learned, okay, weights is good. Maybe I'll pick up a 2-kilo dumbbell or so. And these are the things that I need to do to get lean. Well, we couldn't be more wrong. I'm going to share with you the ultimate fat loss pyramid. These are the key things that contribute to fat loss. Okay, starting at the bottom, we have our most important factor, which is creating a calorie deficit. Don't worry, don't feel overwhelmed. We are going to go through this all step by step, but I just wanted to give you a nice overview on what we'll be covering. So, calorie deficit, number 1, most important. Then we've got our protein intake. So we want to eat a decent amount of protein that is going to help us to not only lose fat, but also maintain that glorious muscle. Then number 3 is lifting weights, and this is heavy weights. Don't feel scared. We will get into that too. Then sleep and hydration, making sure we're sleeping enough, we're hydrating. And then cardio, probably the least important of all of them. Now, if you're thinking, whoa, Ange, that does not sound like it's for me. I have to do like a couple of runs a week, otherwise I'm gonna get fat. I know the carbs just don't work for me, like they always make me gain weight. I want you to stop right there, and I want to tell you that we cannot keep on doing the same things and expecting a different result. Doing something new, I know it can feel scary. I know it can often feel counterintuitive, right? We want to keep on doing the same things that we think work. But I want to invite you to let all of that go. And I am going to, with a fresh slate, start helping you build brand new habits that are actually going to count for your results. And we are going to do that step by step. Okay, Ange, a calorie deficit is most important. What does that even mean? And how do we even achieve that? So let me explain in brief what a calorie deficit is. Your beautiful body is burning energy. It is not just burning energy when you are at the gym or doing some kind of workout. It is burning energy just existing, okay? Just breathing, just moving around. Even if you were just laying in bed all day, your body is burning energy. Food and drinks, on the other hand, contain energy. So every single food on the planet contains a specific amount of energy. Some are higher and some are lower. What creating a calorie deficit means is being able to balance your energy in versus energy out. So we can predict based on your height, your age, and your weight, how many calories roughly your body burns a day. Then what we want to do is, to lose fat, is we want to balance the amount of energy that we are putting in. And when we create a deficit, meaning we are consuming less energy in than we are expending, there will be a negative balance. And where that negative balance comes from is our lovely little thighs. So that is how you lose fat. That energy has to come from somewhere, and that energy will come from our fat stores. Now, no matter what diet you follow, there always has to be a negative energy balance in order for you to lose fat. Now, based on your goals, you would either want to lose fat, you would want to maintain your weight, or you would want to gain weight. So probably not us ladies, but those men in the gym who are wanting to gain weight, your energy levels will be different. So starting off with maintenance. Maintenance means just that. That is when your energy levels versus in versus out are exactly the same. So the amount of energy you're expending and the amount of energy you're putting in are equal. Your weight, which might be where you're at right now, will stay exactly the same. When we are creating an energy deficit, it means that the food we are putting in, the energy in, will be less than the energy we are putting out. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have a surplus. That means additional, right? That means we are consuming more calories in than we're expending out, and that would result in a net fat gain. At the end of the day, it is essentially math. We know how much energy our bodies are putting out, and we know how many calories are in the different foods. So we can now start calculating how much our body needs and how much we are putting in. And then we are able to start getting predictable fat loss results. Now, you may think, Ange, there are so many diets out there. These people are maybe not calorie counting. How are all of these different diets working? Every single diet on the planet that gets you a fat loss result is creating a calorie deficit. So I wanted to bust a few myths here and go through a couple of popular diets, and I want to go through why they say it works versus why it really works. So let's start off with a very popular one at the moment, which is low carb or keto. They say it works because carbs make you fat, so if you cut out carbs, you'll get skinny. Why does it really work? It's because they are creating a calorie deficit. If you cut out an entire group of food, essentially you are eating less energy in versus energy out. But the problem with low carb diets is, well, carbs are delicious and you also can't avoid them forever. So for most people, it is really unsustainable in a normal everyday life. let's look at paleo, right? The caveman diet. Why they say it works? Eat like a caveman and you will never need to diet again. Why it really works? Yep, you know the answer now. So the problem with paleo, for example, is your favorite foods were probably not around back then, right? So they'll probably be off limits. A low-fat diet, people say fats are bad. You know, if you eliminate fat, you'll lose fat. And the problem with this is when fat is removed, often sugar is added, right? And fat is also really delicious and it can help you feel super satisfied. So as you can see, when we go through and really unpack each one of these diets, you will see that ultimately, if they work, which is half the time, because at the end of the day, you're leaving it up to chance. You could still eat a whole lot of healthy food, and at the end of the day, if you add up the calories and you're in a calorie surplus, you will not lose fat. What also makes it challenging is if you are following paleo and you're not getting results, you can't be more paleo than you were yesterday. So you have nowhere else to go. Whereas when you are tracking your calories in and out, you can easily make adjustments. So here goes with calorie counting 101. Your body is essentially like a budget. We all understand budgets as females, even if we don't really use them, right? So at the end of the day, your body is burning a specific amount of energy just to exist, also to do activity, and then different foods have different energy amounts within them. Here is the thing. We can then start balancing the foods that we're putting in with what the budget is that we have for this day. What does that mean? It means that no food is off limits. It just means that there are some foods that are more calorie dense, so they have a higher energy price tag on them, and some foods are, kind of on sale. So you get quite a lot of food for a lower amount of energy, for a lower amount of calories. So this means that we can have a lot more flexibility about choosing what it is that we want to spend our budget on. And some days we can obviously eat a lot of low calorie food and have a lot more. And then other days we can budget in for something a little bit more luxurious or something a little bit more pricey. So what I want to drill into you from day one is that there are no good or bad foods. We have been brainwashed into thinking there is a very specific list of foods that if you eat them, you will get lean. And that is just not true. There's of course room for lots of healthy whole foods because we also want to take care of our bodies and our skin and our hair and all of that stuff. But there's absolutely room for your favorite chocolate, for a glass of wine, for some pasta. And the rule is we can have it all, maybe just not all at once. So I wanted to look here through an energy lens. I wanted to look at a couple of different foods for you to start getting your head around how we are going to start making our food choices. So here I have put up a couple of more calorie dense or more calorie expensive foods and then some other lower calorie options. So you'll see, for example, an ice cream perhaps is 300 calories. And you can see strawberries, so say you wanted a sweet treat, are only 33 calories. So the calorie price there is a lot lower. Then we even have healthy foods. So let's say avocado, that is 180 calories, where a lot of people are like, the avocado is healthy, you can have as much as you want. And you'll start seeing, once you start adding up all of your calories, that sometimes healthy foods can very easily push us over our budget as well. So this is just a nice way to start looking at different foods. And once you start becoming calorie conscious, which is going to be part of your actions this week, you are going to start seeing foods in a whole new light. Okay, so how do we find out how many calories are in the foods that we are eating? I'm going to share 2 different ways for you to do this. Number 1 is reading the nutritional label, and I'm going to show you in a minute how to do that. And then the second way is a quick Google search. All right, so let's have a look at how we read a nutritional label to find the calories or the energy in the food. So let's have a look at this oats, for example. You will have a look at the label here and you will see the kilojoules amount listed. What we would do is we would grab this kilojoules amount, we would divide it by 4 or 4.2 if you really want to get technical, and this will give you the amount of calories for 40 grams of oats. You would then use your kitchen scale to measure this out to make sure that it is 40 grams. You could of course have 60 grams and you could use the 100 grams amount to help you calculate that. And then part of your actions for this week is we are actually going to look at everything through this energy lens and start writing down the different foods that we are having and the calories within those foods. But don't worry, I'm first going to show you one other way to find the calories using a Google search. Now, our wonderful friend Google always comes to save the day. You can essentially search any different food and you will find the calories on Google. So very important here is to be as specific as possible. So let's say you are having 100 grams of instant jungle oats. That is what I would want you to search. 100 grams of instant jungle oats calories. The more specific you are in your search term, the better the results will be that you get. I must say, I have never come across any food at all that I have not been able to find, so Google will be your best friend here. In week 2, I am going to be introducing you to a very cool app that is going to help you to track your calories, but for now, I just want you to, number 1, start reading those nutritional labels, and number 2, using Google to find the calories in different foods. Now, at this point as well, you may be thinking, well, Ange, what is this budget you've been talking about? How many calories should I be eating? So hold on, take a step back. We are not going to be making any changes in week 1. I know that sounds crazy, especially for us that want to start on Monday, changing our whole life, doing all the exercise, changing our whole diet, getting all the groceries. We are doing it differently this time, and I want you to trust me that there is method in the madness. But this week is just about becoming energy conscious and calorie conscious and looking at foods now through that energy lens. Now, if you are feeling a little overwhelmed or you're feeling like your head's a little bit like scrambled eggs, I want you to just take a deep breath. And I want you to remember the first time you tried to drive a car. There were so many things going on. You thought to yourself, there is no way I'm going to be able to drive this thing, especially a manual car. I drive an automatic now. I haven't driven a manual for a very long time, but I still remember this scary moment when I tried. And slowly but surely, you did a couple of lessons, you got the hang of it, and now she's doing her lipstick, she's on her phone, not recommended. She's listening to the radio, and driving a car has become so easy. It is going to be the same. So I wanted to finish up this lesson by sharing the 4 levels of learning and just show you where you're at and where we are heading to. Let's have a look at the 4 stages of learning. So stage 1 is the novice. This is where you're at right now. This is when you are unconsciously incompetent, right? You don't even know what you don't know. Then, as we do a little bit more work, we head to stage 2. This is consciously incompetent. All of a sudden, you become conscious about what you don't know and what you need to learn. Then, as you work your way up, you get to level 3, which is the master, right? Oh, so level 2 was learning, right? That's where we are also in this phase. You have already started your learning process. So we have moved into stage 2. Then you are going to get to stage 3, where you are consciously competent. So you are still using energy, but you are doing pretty well, and it's becoming a little bit more effortless. And then the last and final stage is unconsciously competent. This is where we are with our driving these days, right? We are just doing something pretty well without it taking too much effort. So the Lean Girl rule here is be patient and enjoy the learning process. Right, we are at the end of lesson 1. So let's do a little lesson nutshell. I know that we've covered a lot, so let's just summarize everything that we've been through here. So firstly, the only way to lose fat is to create a calorie deficit. This means less calories in versus calories out. Secondly, that no foods are good or bad. They just all have different calorie prices. You've learned that you can now find the energy price of any food by reading the nutritional label or doing a quick Google search. You're in the learning phase now, which is phase 2, which takes a little bit more work until you become consciously competent and finally unconsciously competent. So stick with me, you are going to get there. And lastly, you need to become energy conscious as the first step to understanding the science of nutrition. Right, I hope that you are ready to take action. So here are your list of important action steps for week 1. First of all, you need to download your food diary template. I have got an option that you can print out, or there's an editable version that you can keep on your computer if you like. You are then going to be keeping a food diary for me for the week, and you are going to write down every single thing that you eat and drink, and that includes every bite, sip, snack, and meal, and sauce, and everything in between. I want you to, if it goes in your mouth, I want you to write it down. Then we are going to become calorie curious about different foods that we are eating. We are going to read the labels, or we will find the energy price of the food on Google, and we are going to write that down next to the foods that we have eaten. We are then going to record the calories at the end of each day and total them up. Remember here, we are changing nothing. You are just going to go ahead and eat as you were and just record the calories. Then remember to go and post in our Facebook group, introduce yourself to us. And lastly, you now can head to the lesson 1 quiz. So here we are going to test your knowledge, make sure that everything's sunk in, and just give you a very quick refresher on the most important points that I need you to take out of this lesson. Right, so this is the end of lesson 1. I hope that you have your roadmap. I hope that you have your action plan ready to go. And I hope you are excited about becoming a little bit calorie curious this week. A reminder, you do not have a calorie budget for the week. We are not changing anything. All you need to do is follow your roadmap, do your actions, and I am going to see you back here in week 2, where we are then going to work out your energy budget and start making changes. Also note that you are not going to be doing any exercise. If you are currently exercising, you can of course continue to do that. But why I do this is because nutrition is the most important element when it comes to getting lean. And I want us to just focus on this step by step. So if you'd like to do some light walking, if you'd like to just continue normal exercise, please go ahead and do that. But exercise and the exercise program is only officially starting in week 3. Week 1 and 2, we are drilling down that nutrition and we are getting it on point. So you've got everything that you need now. I hope that you are all set and ready to go. Enjoy week 1, have fun with it, and I will see you back here in week 2.